KSL News at noon starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being with us with Dan Spindle. I'm Sheriff Park. We have two breaking stories to bring you this noon hour. First, a shooting with injuries in Salt Lake City, and then a very close call in Utah County when a garbage truck slammed into a family's home.
Unreal images. First, let's talk about the shooting, though, in Salt Lake City. We're taking a live look to the scene right here. This is the area in question, State Street and 14th South. This is right near the Wasatch Inn. Police say it appears two men were arguing in the parking lot of the Wasatch Inn, and one shot the other and then took off.
Police are still searching for the suspect. The victim was taken to a hospital. Police say he is in critical condition right now. As you can see here, we have homicide investigators on scene out of an abundance of caution. Police believe this is an isolated incident, but warn that this suspect is still at large. Now to Spanish Fork, and a terrifying situation for a family down there.
A garbage truck crashes.
Live in Spanish Fork, I'm Shara Park.
All right, that family very lucky. Thanks a lot, Shara. Also right now, a manhunt underway after a shooting in downtown Salt Lake. It happened this morning at the Wasatch Inn on South State Street. Salt Lake police say the victim and suspect got into a fight before the suspect opened fire, shooting the man in the head. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The suspect is described as a 60-year-old man, balding with no facial hair. He was last seen wearing a green puffy jacket, red and black sweatpants, and white shoes. If you have any information, make sure you call police. Well, the Davis County man, Jed Bowl.
Jed, thank you. Well, a soldier from World War II finally being laid to rest here in Utah after his remains were identified 79 years later. Sergeant Elvin L. Phillips served as a gunner on an aircraft when he was taken out by enemy fire in Romania. His remains were buried as unknowns in that country until an American defense agency began exhuming unknown bodies for identification. Phillips was a Salt Lake native, just 23 years old at the time of his death. He'll be buried at Utah Veterans Cemetery and Memorial Park.
Queer students at BYU making the weekend coming up in a minute.
All right, Kevin, we'll see you then. Well, the end of an era for an iconic department store in downtown Salt Lake. This is a live look now to the Sears building as it comes crashing down. Now, demolition crews tearing down the building to pave the way for an Intermountain Healthcare development. Intermountain bought this property at 800 South and State Street late last year, but has not revealed what they plan to do with it. But again, a live look as they tear it down. Well, tributes pouring in.
Up in a couple of minutes.
All right, Kevin, thanks. Just in, Salt Lake police announced they have made an arrest this morning in the shooting at the Wasatch Inn on State Street. But the person who pulled the trigger is still at large. This is the man police believe shot the victim, 60-year-old Joseph Marquez. Detectives are trying to find him right now, but they did arrest another man, 71-year-old Thomas Glasker, who they believe gave Marquez the gun and was the getaway driver. The 38-year-old victim remains in the hospital in critical condition.
Closing arguments today in the...
A soldier from World War II is finally being laid to rest here in Utah.
The long-awaited burial comes after his remains were finally identified 79 years later. Well, Sergeant Elvin L. Phillips served as a gunner on an aircraft when it was taken out by enemy fire in Romania. His remains were buried as unknowns in that country until an American defense agency identified them. Well, Phillips was a Salt Lake native and just 23 years old when he died. He'll be buried at Utah Veterans Cemetery and Memorial Park.
And finally tonight, an Indiana family.
Here in the next little bit.
Also happening now, police are asking people to help keep an eye out for a suspect in a shooting on State Street this morning that left another man in critical condition.
News specialist Lauren Steinbrecher is live in front of the public safety building with how officers made that arrest. But Lauren, it sounds like it's not the actual gunman.
Right, Dan and Deanie. So, no, that actually isn't the gunman they took into custody. They believe the person they arrested may have been acting as a getaway driver. And as that investigation continues here at the public safety building tonight, residents who live just blocks away from where that shooting happened are calling for a change.
2 blocks.
During her mid-morning walk with Firkin,
Literally 2 blocks from where it.
Police rush in and hang crime scene tape near Amy Hawkins' home.
There are about 20 cop cars at a motel on State Street.
She would find out 2 men got into a fight at Wasatch Motel. Police said they believe 60-year-old Joseph Marquez shot a 38-year-old man and ran, now on the loose.
Yeah, that's That's a little hard to hear.
Leaving Hawkins and neighbors like Erica Shockmel worried.
Having somebody be shot or killed or hurt within blocks of your family house doesn't feel safe.
But not surprised.
There have been shootings and murders and stabbings in the neighborhood. There's a lot of prostitution. There's a lot of drug dealing.
We've had 5 violent deaths in the ballpark neighborhood so far this year. And then in addition to that, we've had 4 shootings.
Even if police say this shooting was an isolated incident.
It doesn't feel isolated on our end because we have so many events like this that have happened recently.
They're hoping something can change before there's another shooting in the ballpark neighborhood.
We've seen a shooting exactly where we would predict it to happen, at a low-budget motel in the ballpark neighborhood. Wouldn't it be great if we could use the predictive data that we've all accumulated together to prevent something like that from happening again?
And as police look for Marquez, saying he should be considered armed and dangerous, so please call 911 if you see him. They did arrest 71-year-old Thomas Leroy Glasker for attempted murder and obstruction of justice. They believe that he gave Marquez the gun for that shooting. Lauren Steinbrecher, KSL-5 News.
Lauren, thank you. And we have more breaking news tonight. Washington County. It's the end of an era for an iconic department store in downtown Salt Lake.
Yeah, part of the old Sears building right here was demolished today to make way for something new. News specialist Ashley Moser joins us now live with what's next. Ashley?
Well, Dan and Deanie, that is the big question. But what we do know is Intermountain purchased this land back in 2021, so not that long ago, but they have not revealed what they plan to do with it. One thing that we do know, though, is that the popular taco truck, Tacos Don Rafa, well, they say that they are not leaving. That's their plan. They are on the sidewalk just right next to the site. And that's good news for customers we spoke with tonight. But take a look at the video from earlier today of demolition crews tearing down part of the building. I talked to someone who says he still remembers coming to the Sears here as a little boy, coming to shop, and then, of course, also coming for the tacos. He's just interested to see what will happen eventually at this site.
You can have an accessible hospital close by. Hopefully TDR can get a good relocation because it's always been on, this corner of State and what is that, 9th, 800 South?
Now, business, as you saw there, booming tonight. The taco truck doesn't close until about midnight, so a lot of people know this spot. They know that the tacos are here. This is why they come to the site. Actually, this taco place uses part of the parking lot for customers, so that will eventually have to change. But Intermountain says that the building is dilapidated. They've had numerous break-ins, so change is needed here. As for the plans, again, nothing solid, but they say it'll enhance healthcare services for area residents. We'll continue to keep you updated on this one. Back to you.
And those are very good tacos there, too. Thanks a lot, Ashley. Well, a bridge damaged by Hurricane